Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Brew Crew Nation 98. Well, we are actually not going to be doing any game predictions this week, as there is no games this week besides the Pro Bowl stuff, which no one really cares about, so we're just going to do that. Ignore that. So I thought it'd be a fun thing to do instead of anything related to the Pro Bowl or Super Bowl quite yet, to go through the NFL award finalists and do my own personal predictions on who I think would win each award. And so let's start off with the MVP award. It is down to these five players here on the screen: Josh Allen, quarterback of the Bills; Joe Burrow, quarterback of the Bengals; Jalen Hurts, quarterback of the Eagles; Justin Jefferson, the Vikings wide receiver who had a fantastic season; and Patrick Mahomes, quarterback of the Chiefs. Josh Allen was a little bit too inconsistent, had too many turnovers for me to really give him an award. Joe Burrow had a very slow start to the year, came on late, not really has good numbers. And Justin Jefferson, the main reason why he's being held back is one, he's on the Vikings, and two, he's a wide receiver because the MVP is basically a quarterback award. So it comes down to Jalen Hurts and Patrick Mahomes for the MVP award. So let's take a quick look at Pro Football Reference. Oh, just went to baseball. And look up Jalen Hurts, see his stats for this year. And then reference football. Then we look up Patrick Mahomes and look at his stats for this year. So Mahomes, as we can see here in passing, had over 5,250 yards, 41 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. And rushing, he had 358 yards for 4 touchdowns and had 5 fumbles. So he had a total of 46 touchdowns and over 5,500 yards and 17 turnovers, which is absolutely fantastic here, leading the Chiefs to the number 1 overall seed in the AFC and a very competitive AFC as well. And Jalen Hurts, who had a big jump in his stats this season, had 3,700 passing yards, 22 yards, 6 interceptions. He did miss 2 games, which makes his numbers not as good. But the main difference between him and Mahomes is his rushing ability: 760 yards and 13 touchdowns, but had 9 fumbles as well. And so that turns out he had about 4,400 yards, 13 plus 22, 35 total touchdowns, and 13 turnovers. So he did also led the Eagles to a very surprising 1 seed, dominating the entire NFC as well. So both of these guys are my top 2 guys for MVP this year. Me personally, I am going to go with Mahomes, mainly because the competition he had was greater. He had greater passing yards, and I think he is the better player. If I had to pick between Jalen Hurts and Patrick Mahomes on who I want to lead my team in the Super Bowl, I'm picking Mahomes because I think he is that much more talented. Not trying to take anything away from Jalen Hurts. He had a fantastic season, really improved as a quarterback, and the Eagles are running really smoothly with him as their quarterback. So I just think Mahomes is better. AP Defensive Player of the Year. Now, this is going to be down to 2 guys for me. Chris Jones, you had a fantastic season, really great season. I think it's down between Nick Bosa and Micah Parsons, because these 2 have been completely dominant. Let's go take a look at them, their stats. Nick Bosa and then Micah Parsons. There we go. I just misspelled it. So Parsons this season had started 17 games, 64 total tackles, 14 TFLs, 27 QB hits, 13 and a half sacks, 3 forced fumbles, 3 fumble recoveries, and a touchdown. Let's see, advanced defense, pass rush, 13 quarterback hurries. Really was an awesome defensive player for the Cowboys that had a really, really good unit as well. And then we have Nick Bosa, who had an incredible season, led the league with sacks at 18.5, 51 total tackles, 48 quarterback hits, 19 TFLs. He also had 2 forced fumbles as well this season. So the thing you gotta think of for between these two is who was on the better defense and who had the better stats. And looking at it in terms of being a pass rusher, Bosa was the better pass rusher this season. 56 total pressures. Parsons only had 41 total pressures, 18.5 sacks for Bosa, 13.5 sacks for Parsons. And I'm going to go with the award going to Nick Bosa of the 49ers. Absolutely fantastic season. Good for him. AP Offensive Player of the Year. I don't like giving this award to a quarterback because it's basically the MVP is a quarterback award. So we got to go. So I'm eliminating Hurts and Mahomes just because it's not fair to everyone else. They're already my top 2 for MVP. Don't think either one should be Offensive Player of the Year. So that leads us down to Tyreek Hill and Justin Jefferson, the 2 wide receivers that had really good years. But let's go ahead and take a look. Tyreek Hill and Justin Jefferson. There we go. Tyreek Hill in his first year as the star receiver for the Dolphins after being traded from the Chiefs had an incredible year. Had 119 receptions, 1,710 receiving yards, and 7 touchdowns. Absolutely fantastic year. Like 70% catch percentage, absolute speed demon. Had 1,742 total yards and 8 total touchdowns. Incredible receiver. Justin Jefferson, on the other hand, was even better. He had a league high 128 receiving yards, over 1,800 receiving yards, 8 total receiving touchdowns, and he had a touchdown on the ground as well, giving him 9 total touchdowns on the year. And so, also the fact that he's nominated for MVP, he gets that slight edge over Hill due to having more stats and being on a better team than the Dolphins were record-wise with the Vikings. And so Justin Jefferson is my Offensive Player of the Year. And now we get to the Offensive Rookie of the Year between Brock Purdy, Kenneth Walker III, and Garrett Wilson of the Jets. I'm not really going to consider Purdy mainly because he only played in 5 games in the regular season, as these awards are based on the regular season as well. So it's down to Kenneth Walker III and Garrett Wilson. So let's go ahead and take a look at those two. Kenneth Walker, and then Garrett Wilson. So Kenneth Walker for a very surprising Seattle team. Oh, I realized my camera was too big for some stats. So we look down here. He had over 1,000 yards rushing, 9 rushing touchdowns, and had an overall total yards of 1,215 for a Seattle team. That was really surprising. 4.6 yards per attempt, 4.8 yards per touch. Pretty good running back. Only appeared in 15 games. Started in 11 of them. Really came on late in the year for Seattle. Garrett Wilson, on the other hand, was a really good receiver for the Jets. Had 83 receptions for 1,103 yards, 4 total touchdowns. Had a 56.5 catch percentage with a complete mess of a quarterback room with guys like Joe Flacco, Zach Wilson, Mike White, all starting. So it was really incredible that he even got this amount of production on the field. So this is really tight. It's just, who do you think, like a guy who was a key running back for a good playoff team, had more touchdowns but less total yards, or a guy who had a really good receiving year with a total mess of a quarterback room? I can go either way. Either of these guys are deserving, But I'm going to go with Garrett Wilson, considering the circumstances that he was around and just what happened. So I think Garrett Wilson is the Offensive Rookie of the Year. AP Defensive Rookie of the Year. All of these guys had really good years. Like Aiden Hutchinson was a game changer for the Lions, a real leader on that defense. And Tariq Woolen being a late round pick, being a stud corner for the Seahawks was a great find. But come on, it's Sauce Gardner, one of the best corners in the league, year one, all-pro starter, first-team all-pro as a rookie, completely changed that Jets defense into an elite unit, shut-down corner. I don't even have to look at the stats. Sauce Gardner's winning Defensive Rookie of the Year. I think that's the easiest award to pick out. Then we got AP Comeback Player of the Year. We got Saquon Barkley, who have struggled with some injuries in the past. Christian McCaffrey, who had a good bounce-back year. But I think it's going to be different because like everyone thinks Comeback Player of the Year is like injuries. Well, there's no actual description on that. It's like comeback players, some guys who have some bad luck, be out of the league, be backups, and they have a great year. That could be a comeback as well. And so I think that award is going to go to Geno Smith, who surprisingly led the Seahawks to a playoff berth, had an incredible season. Let's just look at his stats real quick. Let's just see here. Had 4,282 yards, 30 touchdowns, 11 interceptions, 98 with the Seahawks. Like, he could really be the starter for the next few years in Seattle. Played really, really well. Made the Pro Bowl. And I think that he's going to get a contract extension for like 2 or 3 years with the Seahawks. And so I think Geno Smith is going to be the comeback player of the year. And then we get the Coach of the Year. And this one, oh my goodness. This is going to be hard. Brian Daboll completely turned around a team that we thought was going to be like a potential tanking for the number one pick. Turned them into a playoff team. Made the divisional round. Sean McDermott, he just had another solid year with the Bills, going through the whole thing with Damar Hamlin, really rallied the team around. They did sadly lose in the playoffs, but this doesn't count. Then we got Doug Peterson with the Jaguars, turning a team that had back-to-back number one overall picks. And completely had a bad start to the year. Turned it around, got them to the playoffs, division winners, really strong contender. Kyle Shanahan and 49ers dealing with all of the injuries he had, 3 quarterbacks, still making the offense work to get him to the NFC Championship game, even though they did lose in that game. Absolutely incredible season for them. And Nick Sirianni for the Eagles. Like, no one thought the Eagles were going to be this good. So outside of like Sean McDermott, who we kind of expected the Bills to be good, all 4 of these guys I think are deserving of the award. But for me, I'm going to go with Brian Daboll because that roster, we did not expect anything out of them. And Daboll got them so far, so much further than anyone thought. So I'm going to go with Brian Daboll as Coach of the Year, but I wouldn't be upset if Peterson, Shanahan, or Sirianni won because all these guys have been really, really good. Then AP Assistant Coach of the Year, Ben Johnson, the offensive coordinator of the Lions, who really surprised us with how good the Lions offense was this year. DeMeco Ryans, the 49ers defensive coordinator, leading the best defense in the league. And Shane Steichen of the Eagles OC, who just ran a really, really good offense. I'm going to go with Ben Johnson, mainly because no one expected Jared Goff and that Lions offense to be that good. And so, because we expected the 49ers to be good on defense. And the Eagles had a lot of weapons on that offense that we thought were going to be good. So I'm going to go with Ben Johnson as my pick for that award. So to recap real quick, MVP, Mahomes. Defensive Player of the Year will be Nick Bosa. AP Offensive Player of the Year will be Justin Jefferson. Offensive Rookie of the Year, Garrett Wilson. Defensive Rookie of the Year, Sauce Gardner. Comeback Player of the Year is Geno Smith. Coach of the Year is Brian Daboll. And Assistant Coach of the Year is Ben Johnson. So I'd like to thank each and every one of you for watching this video today. If you enjoyed it, please let me know down in the comments below. What do you think? And I'll see you guys again soon with either some more Packers videos or my Super Bowl predictions. See you again soon.